Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vasil Dikov. I am a senior account manager with GDMFX, and I'll be bringing you today market events. We will start with the North American markets. The events from yesterday. The core personal consumption expenditure price index for the year was at 1.7%. The core personal expenditure price index for the month was 0.1% weaker than expected. Personal income for the month 0.1% better than expected. Personal spending at 1%. Pending home sales for the year 0.7% weaker than the previous reading. Now, Canada's top business leaders are warning in plunging value of the country's currency could turn companies into sitting ducks for foreign buyers, and they want to see the Bank of Canada do something about it. The 42nd quarterly C-suite survey was conducted following a period of heightened market volatility, and the crash in crude oil prices clearly had an impact on executive sentiment. 65% of the 161 executives surveyed say the drop in commodity prices over the last 2 years is having or likely will have a negative impact on their business. The Dow Jones had a sideways movement yesterday. The Nasdaq was 24 points down, and the Dixie is up to 96.06 from 96.33. The biggest mover was the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar with 100 pips, followed by the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, which moved 50 pips down. Today we're going to have consumer confidence for the month of March, and Fed Janet Yellen is going to have a speech. In Europe, we're going to have the private loans today, and also consumer confidence in Italy. In the UK, business leaders called for Britain to stay in the European Union and back the anti-Brexit campaign. The pound benefited from the rebound in oil prices and gained against most of its major rivals. The FTSE 100 was down with 22 points to 6,085. The biggest mover was the cable, that's the pound versus the US dollar, 130 pips up, followed by the pound versus the Japanese yen, 135 pips up. In Japan, unemployment was 0.1% weaker than expected at 3.3%. The overall household spending was 2.3% better than expected at 1.2%. The large retail sales was 1.3% better than previous at 2.2%. The retail trades for the year was 1.2% weaker than expected at 0.5%. The Bank of Japan is to consider more fiscal and monetary stimulus in the coming months. Asian stocks fell for the first time in 3 days as healthcare companies led losses, and more than 2/3 of companies in Japan's TOPIX index traded with the right to the next dividend. The Nikkei 225 was 25 points down. Today we are going to have industrial production for the year and for the month in Japan. Moving on to the Pacific markets, no major events expected in the Pacific currencies, so traders are to focus on the impact of the Japanese fundamentals data and the impact it will have on the Australian and the New Zealand dollars. That was all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.